Whenever you're ready.
In 2009, President Obama reversed the policy of the Bush administration to use enhanced interrogation techniques on suspected terrorists. Obama explained that these kind of techniques have made us less safe. My partner and I will argue that enhanced interrogation techniques are necessary to obtain intelligence and information from suspected terrorists, and that the United States should restore its policy of enhanced interrogation techniques for high-value subjects. We will base our arguments on the experience of actual interrogators who were on the ground in Afghanistan shortly after 9/11. How their experiences revealed the traditional interrogation techniques were not successful against members of terrorist groups and terrorist cells. This is not a debate about torture. We will show that the types of techniques that we are advocating for here do not rise to the level of torture. And we will argue that a policy that adopts these kind of techniques that I will describe in detail in a moment here were utilized by the CIA while suspecting terrorists and while interrogating terrorists after 9/11, and they worked. Now, the types of techniques we're talking about here, there's about 7 or 8 of them. One of them is called the attention grab, where an interrogator forcefully grabs the shirt of another prisoner and shakes him. The next one is an attention slap, an open-handed slap aimed at causing pain and triggering fear. The belly slap, which is a hard, open-handed slap to the stomach, and the aim is to cause pain but not internal injury. Long time standing includes prisoners are forced to stand handcuffed with their feet shackled to an eye bolt in the floor for more than 40 hours. In a cold cell, the prisoner is left to stand naked in a cell that's kept to about 50 degrees, and then cold water is continuously thrown on the subject. And finally, the most famous is waterboarding, where a prisoner is bound to an inclined board, his feet raised, head slightly below the feet, and then cellophane is wrapped over the prisoner's face, and water is poured over him, over his face. The gag reflex kicks in, and the suspect does not want that to continue and talks. Now, with the current turmoil that we have in the Middle East, there's an increasing need to gather intelligence about terrorist groups. Many Middle Eastern governments that we have counted on in the past for this type of intel have fallen or will likely fall, and one of those is Egypt. As an ABC News reported just last week, intelligence experts say that Egypt's role in aiding in U.S. counterterrorism efforts across the Middle East through intelligence assistance could be non-existent after the new government takes over in Cairo. And because Egypt has spawned some of the most infamous terrorists, like Mohammed Atta, who was the pilot on one of the planes in 9/11, and Ayman Zawahiri, who was bin Laden's lieutenant, it's likely that an increase in terrorism in the West will occur as this vacuum happens all across the Middle East. So we need to have these techniques in place. Now, our opponents will probably argue that traditional methods are equal to or even might surpass coercive techniques that we're talking about tonight. But we will show that the evidence just shows otherwise. The traditional interrogation techniques that the U.S. military used before 9/11 were geared to get information from normal enemy combatants and armies, not the kind of terrorists that we ran into after 9/11. Those techniques, the traditional ones of building rapport, talking and getting a relationship going with these people, that works for normal armies and normal combatants, not for terrorists. As Heather McDonald, the John M. Olin Fellow at the Manhattan Institute said in a recent lecture, if an interrogator offered a jihadist prisoner contact with his wife and children, built a relationship up, in exchange for information, the jihadist would probably respond, I've divorced this life. I don't care about my family. Now, many of these same suspects capitulated after being subjected to more coercive techniques. The reason can be found in a Justice Department memo dated May 30th, 2005. It reads, Abu Zubaydah, who is one of al-Qaeda's top lieutenants, himself explained that brothers who are captured and interrogated are permitted by Allah to provide information when they believe they have reached the limit of their ability to withhold in the face of psychological and physical hardship. This is a key advantage to using enhanced interrogation techniques. And we'll show you that the evidence that enhanced interrogation worked where these traditional methods did not. CIA memos confirmed that once enhanced interrogations were employed, Abu Zubaydah and others furnished detailed information regarding al-Qaeda's organizational structure, key operatives, and modus operandi, and identified Khalid Sheikh Mohammed as the mastermind of the 9/11 attacks. So Zubaydah and Khalid Sheikh Mohammed also supplied important information about al-Zawahiri and his network in Iraq, which helped our operations against al-Qaeda in that country. It would be reckless to ignore the experience of the interrogators that we just talked about, and who we will talk about in this debate tonight, who reported back that enhanced interrogation was the only way to garner life-saving information. The CIA reported that several major attacks on the U.S. were directly averted by the information gained by using enhanced interrogation, including plans on the U.S. consulate in Karachi, a plan to fly hijacked aircraft into Heathrow Airport, to derail a train in the U.S., and blow up gas stations in the U.S., and blow up the library tower in Los Angeles. Intelligence gathering is our only sure offense against attack. Nothing else matters. Interrogators face the urgent need to get life-saving information from terrorists who likely will know about future plots. Should be allowed to use enhanced interrogation techniques when other techniques are not working. The American public would not stand for another major attack on our country because we chose not to use techniques that helped us get vital information in the past. My partner and I stand in full support of implementing an interrogation policy that includes these enhanced interrogation techniques that I've outlined. We would employ these techniques only on individuals that the CIA and the FBI deem high-value targets, and we would mandate that the approval of such techniques come from only the highest level of military and civilian leadership. After hearing all the evidence tonight, we're confident that you will agree that the U.S. must allow its investigators to use these techniques on high-value terrorist suspects, and we should reestablish official policy allowing the practice.